You know, it's rare that we can sum up the essence of complex social interactions or complex relationships in just 2 words without the risk of being so superficial as to be meaningless. But when it comes to politics, I think we can. The 2 words? Free money. The allure of something for nothing, the siren song of de facto free money is irresistible for the vast majority of people. In the fight between free money promises and talk of even a modicum of financial prudence, it's no contest. I'm not being cynical or glib. I mean, just look at the last federal election. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals promised most prominent campaign promise, the one featured most often in TV ads, was to take money from anyone earning over $200,000 and giving it to people earning between $50,000 and $90,000. Don't you remember those cheering crowds in the TV ad? I mean, it was such a brazen promise of free money to people. Hey, they weren't in need. These weren't the poor or the homeless. They were simply the biggest block of voters. It's the old George Bernard Shaw observation that governments who rob Peter to pay Paul can count on the support of Paul. And the promise of free money didn't stop there. You want new roads? You want new bridges? Well, it'll cost you nothing. We'll just take $10 billion a year from future taxpayers by borrowing and deficit spending. Of course, that number exploded, but getting $29 billion of free stuff is even better than just $10 billion. Hence, there's no political fallout for the big jump in deficit spending. I mean, Thomas Mulcair is no longer the leader of the NDP because he didn't promise enough free stuff during the election. He made the political miscalculation that a majority of Canadians would vote for financial prudence over getting free money. Hence, he said he's going to balance the budget. But no, people wanted free infrastructure, free money for the arts community, free money for the CBC. So he was wrong, and his party threw him out for it. Oh my gosh, and as for Stephen Harper, well, forget it. He actually tried to reduce the rate of spending increases. And that, by the way, is the definition in the media and the progressive left of austerity. Not a cutback, just you're reducing the rate of increase in spending. And of course, only the most cold-hearted would do that. By the way, at this point, I have to do the public service announcement that the amount promised by the Liberals to spend on what the average Canadian thinks of infrastructure, like roads, bridges, transportation, is such a small fraction of what the Liberals themselves have redefined as infrastructure spending. Only $865 million this year across the country. But back to the free money. Politicians promising something for nothing goes back thousands of years. You know, in ancient Rome, during the times of Cicero and Caesar, Publius Claudius Pulcher won his election as tribune by guaranteeing a daily ration of bread to every Roman citizen. It was the precursor to guaranteed income. Speaking of which, you're about to hear a lot more about guaranteed base of income. It's the latest wealth redistribution scheme by the progressive left, and the fact that it's absolutely not doable financially, it's not going to bother anyone in the least. But what's not to like? Think about this as a sales. I mean, you amalgamate all social welfare and unemployment insurance programs and you write a check to everybody. No questions asked, certainly nothing required in return, just free money. No need to work. I think it's going to be irresistible to the me-first, self-centered generation who've an intense sense of entitlement. After all, they deserve it. I mean, Bernie Sanders just tapped into that vein. I forget all the free he was offering, but there was certainly free university and forgiveness of student loans. I mean, what's not to like? And I'm telling you, it's coming here. Switzerland is having a referendum on guaranteeing every citizen about $2,300 per month. No need to work, and that's the point. The insight into the attitudinal change in society that motivates the free money mantra. People don't want to work. No need to bother with the fact that the numbers absolutely don't add up. I'll give you an example in Canada. If you're going to give every Canadian citizen $200 per month, which what is that? That's not enough to live on, that's for sure, would cost $3.4 billion. But what about $2,000 per month? Per month, $34 billion. But once we no longer valued work ethic, and I think this is important, we didn't value work ethic and we didn't value the measurability. We denigrated success with the open attacks on the so-called 1%, people who made over 200 grand, as if they had done something wrong, though. Wrong by working longer hours or getting a better education, staying longer in school, most times, virtually every time, racking up student debt. But they were being entrepreneurial. Well, it provided the moral cover for confiscating their money. They did something wrong, we deserve to take it. And come on, promising literally free money and free services, and and you don't have to pay for government services is absolutely so attractive to people that they're quite willing to take it from others. But the question is, does it come with consequences? So let me finish by revisiting the warning of Scottish lawyer and philosopher Alexander Tytler, who said in 1770, in quotes, "A democracy will continue to exist up until that time when voters discover they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for candidates who promise the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that every democracy finally collapses due to loose fiscal policy." End of quote. You want some modern examples? You don't have to go back to 1770. All you have to look at what's going on right now in Venezuela. It is absolutely the disintegration of society under the socialist regime of Chavez and now Maduro. We're also seeing the beginning of the demise of the welfare state in Europe, and there's so many other examples to come. No, this attitude of give me something for nothing has consequences. Unfortunately, those consequences can be extremely nasty. In the case of Rome, which I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, once they were unable to deliver the free bread, the free grain every day, that's when social rebellion took place. That ushered in the dictatorship of Julius Caesar.